What is going on? We got ourselves another 60-minute workout, technically 62. When I'm picking these workouts, I'm trying to pick something that actually looks challenging. And typically when I'm looking for challenging stuff, they got a lot of these ups and downs and not something that's easy. I feel like it would just be boring if I just picked an easy workout. So we got to go pretty decently hard. That's what we got. I don't really know how hard this is going to be. It just seems like a lot of short segments, which I believe I'm able to do relatively easy. I think it's just holding is what I struggle with, but we'll see how this one goes. I can't even see, what is that, 16 of the workouts that are on there. So there's a lot on there that I can't even see. Let's start with a 10-minute warm-up. Keep your cadence comfortable. So, I don't know. We'll see how this goes. What is going on? All right, there we go. And I was going to do something new today, but I was having some stuff go on with my calf. And I think it was from my workout that I just recently did a couple days ago. And I never really felt it before. This was the first time I felt it. It was like right behind my kneecap. And it was just not good. It wasn't feeling good. But what I was gonna do, instead of doing a workout, I was gonna do a race. And I've never done a race before, so I'll get there. I'll probably do that next week. I just wanted to make sure everything was good, wasn't sore or anything. My foot, honestly, before this, my foot was feeling a little bit off. Right now it's fine, we'll see. It'll probably be fine during. But it was weird, when I was just walking around, I was feeling a little bit funny. I don't know what it was just on the outside of my foot. I feel like that's one of the hardest things, especially with training. It's just trying to make sure you're staying healthy with everything. That's one of the hardest things in my opinion, I guess. Because I can do the work, I can show up, and I can put in the work, but staying healthy, there is some aspect of it that you can control. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff out of your control that you can't really control. Say with my injury, my foot injury, I couldn't really avoid that because I'm assuming the reason that happened was because I ran the marathon. And then the first half marathon that I had, that injury, I'm assuming that happened was because I ran the half marathon. And maybe it's because I'm running a longer distance at a higher intensity and I'm not really used to it for that long, that volume, that pace and everything. Maybe that's why. But injuries are just tough. You can't really avoid them. They just show up and say, hey, I'm here. And then you're just screwed, more or less. So I've been trying to take it easy on running because of my foot and just not seeming to get better. So I'm just trying to, as slowly as possible, ease back into it. So I'm going on like 1 to 2 runs a week, and the runs are only like 10 to 20 minutes long. So it's nothing crazy. But this morning was a little bit interesting because I've had a standard of working out twice a day for 45 minutes every day. And then I was debating whether or not I should go to the gym because today's a bike day, so I'm not going to be swimming. And if I just bike and I don't go to the gym in the morning, I don't think I'm going to be doing a second workout. So I decided to skip the gym this morning and worked a little bit. But then I ended up falling asleep while I was working. And then it I was, I woke up and I'm like, well, fuck, I should have just went to the gym because I would have finished at like the exact same time. But at least the good news about it was I woke up and I wasn't tired at all and I was feeling really good. So I guess that's the good news that came out of it. But it was just kind of funny that decided to skip the gym, and the time I was sleeping, I could have been at the gym doing something, doing some core, some stuff that I don't typically do, which I need to do more often. But standards it's weird when I look back because my standards have just risen, and you get done what your standards are. And because I have a standard of doing 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes, I don't think I'm gonna go for a 45-minute run today, but I might go for a short run just to get a second workout in. We'll see. I don't know if I will or not. I might. That's actually one thing that I'm trying to do a little bit more is lose weight, because I'm buying all this triathlon gear and equipment, and I think I'm on the edge of a medium and a large. Like lower half is a medium, and then I think upper half is a large. And I think it's just my chest. I can't zip that up, but like everything right here is really tight, my arms. And that was the same thing with my wetsuit. Everywhere felt like it fit perfectly, except for my chest and my arms. And then I bought a triathlon suit, I think it's called, what you wear during your triathlon. And everywhere fit good, I think, except for my chest and like upper body, because I went and looked at the pictures online to see how it fit the models, and the neck thing here like came way down on me, and I was like, that seems a little tight and seems like it comes really low. So I went online to look at how it fit on them, and theirs was a lot higher. So I think I'm just like on the edge of medium and large. Like mediums fit me, larges probably fit me too. It's just which one's gonna fit me better and which one should I go with. So I think I'm gonna start trying to, I don't think I ever thought I would say this, but I think I'm gonna try and lose a couple pounds. The crappy part about that, I don't have the choice of where I'm gonna be losing that weight, where I would obviously like to lose it in my stomach, but it's probably gonna go everywhere but that. It'd be really nice if I could just say, I only want to lose weight in my stomach. It doesn't work like that. And the reason I say I never thought I would ever say that is because growing up in high school, in grade school, I was always really that skinny kid, always the smallest, scrawniest. And then when I got into working out, I basically wanted to be bigger. I set a terrible goal, but it at least got me in the gym and got me going. But I set a goal of I want to be bigger than like everyone. Obviously that's a terrible goal. But I think my goal was just to be able to, if someone sees me, they'll be like, damn, that guy works out. So just being noticeably bigger was basically my goal. And I wasn't a fan of how small I was. I think when I started working out, I was around 20, 21. First tip today, get to the race start pen 2 or 3 minutes early ideally. When I first started working out, I think I weighed around, at my lowest, it was like 125, 130. And I would have been about 5'10", 5'11", and 20, 21 years old. And that's just so small. And that was one of the reasons why I started working out, was because I wanted to be bigger. I didn't want to be so small. Just got annoyed of it. Everyone was bigger than me. It's kind of crazy to think about because I was so small. And I think it's just might be because everyone else was smaller, but growing up I always played hockey and football. Maybe not as much football, but always hockey. It's kind of crazy that I was a twig and playing hockey. I'm still small now though, too, in my opinion. Nowhere near where I want to be. I don't know where I want to be though, because especially I have conflicting opinions of where I want to be, because I obviously want to be bigger because I was always small growing up and I don't want to be small anymore. But now that I'm training for an Ironman, been doing marathons, I don't really want to be bigger because then it makes it tougher, more tough, especially on your joints. But you look at someone like Nick Barr, who's an absolute animal, and he's big. It's like maybe I could do it. But I think just ideally for your body, it's probably best if you aren't bigger. Because I would like to do a bulk and try to get to 200 because I've never actually been there. And it would be nice to get there, see what I look like, and then maybe try and cut and see how that goes. But I just don't think my joints, bones, and all that would be great. But I think if I were to do it, my bones and joints, they might end up getting used to that weight and volume. And then once I do cut and say maybe come back down to where I'm at right now, it would be a lot better for it and it would feel a lot easier, which would maybe help me go faster. Or I would just end up getting injured because I put on too much weight. My body wasn't used to it. And I tried to overload it too much. Maybe something worth a shot, but I don't know if it's during Ironman training is the ideal time to do it. Obviously got, I think 7 or 8 months till the Ironman, but putting on 35 pounds in say 3 months, 3 to 4 months, and then shedding it off doesn't seem like the smart choice. So maybe after the Ironman, unless I decide to sign up for a marathon or something else afterwards, which I won't be surprised if I end up doing. But going back to what I was saying at the start, is I wanted to do a race because I've never done one before. And I think it would be a good opportunity for me to push myself because I got to keep up with other people. And it's going hard for, say, I don't know how long the races are, but I watched a video and that guy that I watched, his video was 30 minutes for his race. So imagine going hard for 30 minutes, seeing where I'm at, seeing how I can compete. And it makes me also think about doing another FTP test. I think there's an FTP test and a ramp test. And that just basically figures out your functional threshold power, I think it's called. So I think that would be good to go back and do again, maybe every couple months, once a quarter or something. Because if I do start increasing, say my FTP has already increased, say to 220, that means all these wattages that are on the screen right now are lower than they should be because I'm able to maintain a higher, more intense pace. So I'm not really pushing myself as much as I should be or I could be. And I also feel during my FTP test, I probably could have gone harder. I was a little bit confused on it and wasn't sure how it worked or what was going on. Because at first you start out with 40 minutes and you just go, I think you go through like a lighter workout, maybe a decent workout. And then the last 20 minutes, I was figuring you were gonna be going through another workout, or it was gonna tell you to go at a certain wattage and then you just try and keep up or whatever it is. But it wasn't even that. You just go at whatever pace you can go at for 20 minutes. And I think I just kind of took it a little easy during that, because it was like, make sure you're saving stuff in the gas or in the tank. You don't want to push yourself too hard. So I think I stayed out around just the wattage that I would be able to maintain the whole time and not push myself, because I didn't really drop at all or increase much. I just basically stayed steady at that same pace the whole time. So it makes me think maybe I could have done better and pushed myself a little bit harder. And then all these workouts would be more intense. Although there are some tough ones. This one's not too bad so far, but I wouldn't say we've really hit or got into the meat and potatoes of it yet. Where does it get hard? I wouldn't say it really ever gets hard. Maybe the 4 by 30 seconds, 10 second, 10 second. That'll probably be a good challenge. I don't think bursts are that hard. And I say that when probably my hardest workout that I've had was the one with a bunch of bursts. I think it was my very first one, where it was like, I think it was like a set of 20. Where it was like 20 seconds hard, 20 seconds harder. It was like a little pyramid. It went like up, and then it went up, down, and then it went up, down, or like down, up. I don't know what it is. So far, this one doesn't seem too challenging. I thought it was going to be harder, but there's also 16 sets that I can't see. And I'm only 15, 20 minutes in. So I still got a lot of time left. See how it goes. Take a few sips of fluid here. Got a peanut butter ball for my snack. Haven't had any snacks on the day yet. Ate breakfast, but no snacks. I know there's not many people that do watch these videos, but I am grateful for you if you do watch, because this does help me go through these workouts a lot faster. It makes it seem like it just goes by so much quicker when I'm talking to a camera. Because the other day I did a workout and it just kept felt like it going on and on and on and on. Whereas when I got this and I can talk, makes time go by a little bit quicker. Makes these workouts not as bad. So if you do watch, I am grateful for you. And I appreciate it. And if you don't watch, you're not going to see this, but I am grateful for you as well, because this just gives me an excuse to make the time go by a little bit quicker on these indoor rides. I think that indoor rides go by a lot slower than outdoor rides for sure. Outdoor rides is a little more entertaining. Get to see stuff, go by different things. Although I basically only had one route, because the roads aren't the best here for biking. So I'd basically only do one route. It's been faster. And then there was, if I ever want to do a really long distance, I basically just got to do that lap. I did that once. I think I got 84 miles that day. And I was still pretty new to it, to biking. Got 84 miles that day. And my legs were toast after. I did that loop twice. It's about a 42-mile loop, which isn't too bad. I think I did it in about 4 hours, 15 minutes. So not terrible timing. And then I was looking up Lake Placid, trying to get some of the details there. Woo! That course does not look good. Sounds absolutely brutal. These routes that I pick on Zwift, I was like, I don't want to pick routes that have too much elevation, because I just go way too slow on it. But then I looked at Lake Placid, and then I'm like, damn, I have to start picking these routes with high elevation, because the bike ride at Lake Placid is apparently 6,000 feet, which is going to be insane. Because here, there is absolutely no elevation. On that 85-mile ride I did, I think I had a total of a couple hundred feet of elevation. So nowhere close to what I'm going to be doing at Placid. So I need to get out and train more in elevation and practice that, because if I don't do that, it's not going to go well. We'll just say that. It's going to be a very tough Ironman. My first one too. And then I saw another comment that was like, you really have to mentally prepare for this because the course is so tough. And especially the run after the bike, because I'm pretty sure the run has elevation of 1,000 feet, which is a good amount. But coming off after the bike, like a 6-hour bike ride with 6,000 elevation feet, that run just gets that much tougher. So you really got to prepare yourself both mentally and physically. So I'm probably gonna have to start doing more rides with elevation. Continue doing workouts to increase my wattage. And I think enter in a few races. Pro tip, oh man, I forgot. But I think the races will be good because it'll give me a little bit of an idea of what to expect and see exactly where I'm at too. Because on those, it's all in your control and you can go harder. And when I'm just doing my regular rides for endurance, I'm not trying to go hard. I'm just going for distance. So it's completely different. So if I do a race, I'm obviously going to be going a lot harder and for a lot longer. Get ready for a big surge after the sprint point to start the S's. What do we got here? 250. That's not bad. 30 seconds. Hold the wheels here, things will get strung out. Whatever that means. So from what I saw, this is probably going to be the hardest segment so far. Get ready for the S's next. Short and sharp surges. Stay focused here. I really don't know what that means. Dig over the short risers. Dig over the short risers. Oh, I only have 4 of these. Okay, that's not too bad then. And breathe on the way back down. And keep some pressure on to not lose the group. I thought the 4 was including the 250, but I guess it's not. So it's just 10-10. So this isn't even going to be hard. Then it looks like it just repeats it. And I just repeat the whole thing. It's kind of what it looks like. 1 minute. Well, I don't think this workout's gonna be as hard as I thought. I think it's had a 4.5 star difficulty rating. I don't know. Maybe these short bursts are tough. It's supposed to be tough. I'm not finding it tough right now. We'll see at the end of the ride how it goes, but we're about halfway through. So far feeling good. Phew, that's lap 1 down, 2 more to go. Oh, so just doing that twice, 3 more times, or 2 more times, 3 total. That's honestly not too bad. I can handle that. I thought this was harder, but I did see, I think, on the very last one, you finish with a sprint, and I think it's around 400 watts. But I mean, if it's only like 10, 20 seconds, it's not gonna be bad. But I actually just hit 600 watts for the first time. I don't think I was really trying, I was just like, let's go really hard. Because it was during a, what are they called? Sprint. So when you're doing regular rides, they have time sections. And I think that's more so just to get you to ride harder and spice it up a little bit, as opposed to just, say, doing a really long ride for an hour. So it's just to maybe get you moving a little bit, because you might want to try and beat your previous times so you can like compete with yourself. And then it was during one of those, it was a quick one too. And I ended up hitting 600 watts. And I guess that was the first time I ever hit it, which is kind of cool. I know it's not a lot compared to some people, but for me, first time I hit it. So that's an achievement. Next up, 700. Next up is maintaining 600 for a 5-hour ride. That'll never happen. I saw something, a video, where someone was saying they can hold their FTP no problem for like 3 hours or whatever it is, or like 75-80% of their FTP for that long, but they struggle holding like 130% for like 4 minutes. And I think I'm in that same boat. I think I have the endurance down pretty well pat. I just don't think I have those short bursts. But I think I recover quickly enough where if I do have those bursts, say during a race, I'd be able to recover within a few minutes. Same thing like with these workouts where it says like go 350 or whatever, and I'll do that. Then afterwards I'm completely dead. And it's like, okay, we got a short break here, 20 seconds, and that's like the recovery. And that's pretty much like all I really need for it. Sometimes longer. But if I get that short little break in, my heart rate comes back down, and then I'm back to where I was. So I think it's just being able to maintain really strong wattage over a long period of time. Can I have my snack now? Man, those peanut butter balls are so good. I'm so happy I found that recipe. So clutch, so easy. Tastes so good. Healthy macros. Healthy ingredients. I got recommended other videos for snacks, quote unquote healthy snacks, and it was like desserts. And I was just using healthier ingredients. I always like to try it, but I'm just too lazy to cook it or make it. It just takes too much time and effort. My legs are getting a little bit tired after that one. No real break. That was kind of what I was talking about before. Or if I get that break, I can lower my heart rate. My legs can come back to normal a little bit, and I'll be fine. But there's not really a break. It's 175 and then 250 and then back to 175. Or say during the race, I don't have these specific metrics that I have to hit. So if I were to say gun it on a pass or something, I'd be able to chill afterwards if I wanted, or just not go as hard and maintain that lead. I don't think you really want to pass someone, get in front, and then stop. Make them pass you. When I went on my first and only group ride, I learned that there's a time that you have to pass someone, and you can't draft off people, which is really interesting. I think you have a 30-second window to pass people, and you have to stay, I think, 6 bike lengths behind, which is really interesting. Not sure how you measure that. Maybe they'll go over that when I get there, give some directions and everything before. Maybe they don't. I'll probably find out when we get there. But then when I heard that, and I rarely ever see people biking, but when I did, I would try, and I was passing them, I would count in my head, it's like 1, 2, 3, to see how long it would take me to pass them. And 30 seconds honestly doesn't seem that long, especially when they're going a bit slower. So it just depends on how fast they're going, because the people that I passed, I wouldn't say were necessarily going very fast. So I think that's the only difference. Because like when we're in the race, people are going to be going faster. So it'll be interesting. Probably have to keep like a mental count in my head. But I think there's a lot of officials on the court or on the track to monitor all that shit. I feel like there's so many volunteers that you need for this. Because if you got to monitor that the whole race, I think it's 2 laps. So it basically needs people there throughout that whole, what is it, probably 56 miles, mile lap or mile loop, that you need officials watching everyone pass and not drafting. You need a lot of officials, volunteers, whatever it is. Oh man, I'm getting tired. What is this? I think this is my second. Then I have one more. Yeah, I'll make it, but my legs are just starting to get tired. I also really want to get back into running because I miss it. That's my favorite one, probably. Definitely not swimming. Swimming is at the bottom. I think if I did more open water swims, or if I was swimming with other people, I might enjoy it a little bit more. But it's just same place, same things, day after day, all by myself. It's always in the morning, way earlier than I want to be up. But I'm up anyways, because I gotta do it. Gotta keep that discipline. Gotta maintain it. Got some goals we gotta hit. Got some goals we want to achieve. We ain't gonna achieve them taking days off. So we gotta stay to pedal to the metal. Starting to sweat. It's a first on this ride. Yeah, I'd say it's starting to get a little bit tough. I don't think it's like, so far, I wouldn't rate this a 4.5 out of 5 difficulty though. It's been relatively easy so far. It's been like a comfortable discomfort so far. And like my legs are starting to get a little bit heavy. But other than that, not a bad ride so far. And I really wanted to, like I said at the start, I wanted to get like a harder one in. And that's kind of what I look for, is the harder ones. I don't want the easy ones if I'm gonna be recording. Because it's kind of boring just watching regular stroll. And I think that's what would make the races a little bit more entertaining. Because there's actually an outcome of it. This is just more or less if I'm able to finish, if I'm able to maintain everything, where it's not as great of an outcome, I guess you could say. Where the other one, it's like, oh, what place does he get? Does he finish top 5? Top 10? Does he get last? Probably. I don't think I would get last. I think my first few races, I might be towards the bottom, but it'll be interesting to try. At the same time, I think they're all timed, so they start at a specific time, which makes it a little bit harder for me to coordinate. Whereas like with this, I can just start whenever I want. But with the races, I'd have to plan around that and be like, okay, starts at 5. I'd like to eat at 5, so now what do I do? And then I gotta plan accordingly. Maybe I can find one that starts earlier. I'm sure there's lots. I haven't looked at it though. So I'm gonna have to look at it. And then next week I'm gonna do a ride where I'm racing and see how it goes. We'll film that. And I feel like biking is not my strong suit, so it'll be interesting. And I feel like there's a lot of strong riders. I was looking at it, the leaderboard of the guy's video that I watched. And the people that like finished in the top, they averaged like 3 watts per kilogram to 4 watts per kilogram, which is pretty crazy because that's what I'm at right now. So they had to maintain this for, was it 30 minutes? That's tough. So if I'm competing against people like that, that's gonna be tough. Because I feel like I can maintain high 2s for maybe 30 minutes. I don't know, that would be tough. But 30 or 3, not 30. 30 would be impossible. Would that be? Yeah, that would be way too hard. I think that would be like 1800 watts. But I think going in those races are really gonna help with me, with my training, getting used to races, up in my wattage. So, and like I would talk about before, it's making sure you're not leaving any gas left in the tank. So this is completely in my control. If I expend all my energy on those rides, on those races, that's all in my control. Or with this, I only have to follow that, and I might still have gas left. So it'll be a good challenge. I'd like to finish in the top 50%, the top half. I just don't know if that's too ambitious of a goal. For my first race, I just feel like if you're on Zwift, you're a biker first. I'm sure there's lots of triathletes, but I just feel like there's a lot of bikers, and especially if you're in a race. I feel like you take it pretty seriously. Bell lap, get ready to surge again. 10 seconds at 270. Then 20 seconds. So my deliberations of this route so far is that it's not bad. It's just this one segment coming up. My legs get a bit heavy. I can do those short bursts, but once it gets into those segments where it's right here where we're coming up, where you gotta maintain for a distance, that's where my legs start to get heavy. And then I gotta maintain this pace for a while, go hard, maintain it again with no break, and that's where my legs start to get a bit heavy. So what do we got left? The last, yeah, so it looks like we finish at 4:15 at 10 seconds. See, I can do that no problem. But when you say do that for 30 seconds or a minute, then it's like, oh, you're asking a lot from me now. We're almost done though. 19 minutes left. 4.5 of that's cool down. And once I get past this, what is it? 7-10 minutes, then it's pretty easy from there. It's just these long segments. So I think maybe, obviously next one's gonna be a race, but the one after that, I'm thinking maybe I'll do a workout where you gotta maintain a solid effort for a solid distance. Work on that a little bit. Obviously that's gonna help with my wattage, but at the same time, it's gonna help with my endurance at a hard pace, which seems like the way I've been talking about how I feel is what I need the most help with. So I think that'll be in about 2 weeks. We'll do that. See how that goes. I saw someone post on Strava. I've glazed over it, and I think it's the same one as he did, and it just looks like death. But I think it's like 5 to 10 minutes at like 120 or 130 your FTP. And that just sounds brutal. Especially if you have to maintain a cadence for it. Woo. Woo. And I always glance over because it looks way too hard. And I think I avoid those on purpose. So I think I've said this before, where you got to do what you don't want to do, because that's where the growth happens. So you can expect that in 2 weeks, where we'll be doing some tough ones, where we're maintaining a high wattage for a good distance. But for now, short spurts, which I thought was going to be hard, but apparently it's not as hard as I thought. I was not paying attention, checking my Slack messages, and then that hit me out of nowhere. I looked up and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta start going. That's probably not gonna help me, because that just made me dig a little deeper than I should have had to. But made it through, barely. Almost done. Got like these 6-minute segments left. Those are gonna be the hardest. And then pretty much done after that, the way I'm looking at it. I don't think those last stuff's really gonna hurt me or affect me. Gotta pay attention better though. That costing me a little extra work. But that's what we gotta do. We gotta put in that work to get better, to grow. But at the same time, might not be smart. Because like that one test I did where I tried to have a low cadence on my workout segment and I wasn't even able to hit the wattage because my cadence was too low. So I had to up the resistance way too high and I wasn't able to get back to it. And I just don't think that's good for it. For training and anything purposes. So you gotta pay better attention. Let's maintain, see what we can do here. Let's maintain like an 85-90 cadence. I haven't been going very hard. And I think I've said this before where I think the hardest part is the cadence. Maintaining that because it feels like you're working harder. And I think this is more like endurance based compared to going at a lower cadence. There's more resistance on it. So then it's more power as opposed to endurance. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me if I am. I'd love to know. But I think holding this higher, I think my cousin told me you want to maintain 80 to 90 cadence when you're cycling. And basically this whole ride I've been at around 70, so I think that's fine. Maybe just do what you find easiest and what you find best works for you. If going at a 60 cadence is best, do that. But the only way to know is if you're testing other ways, see what you like best. Because we're all different. And you gotta see what works best for you. The way you like the best. Oh, I'm at a 75 cadence now. Slow the cadence. That's weird. Maybe he said 70 to 80 for cadence. I can't remember what he said. But this does feel more about power as opposed to endurance, just because of the resistance. Because if I was able to maintain a 100 cadence right now, the resistance would be a lot less because I'm getting so many rotations. I don't really know how that works. That doesn't make sense to me. Because in that sense, it just seems like wattage is speed. Because if I go 100 cadence, but a lighter resistance, compared to 75 at a harder resistance, I'm gonna be going the same pace. But the wattage, I wonder how wattage is calculated. Because I always thought wattage is like power. And if I'm doing 100 cadence, I feel like there's not as much power. It's just more volume. That's interesting to think about. Because it seems like that's what it would be. And it's like, I don't have as much power in the 100 cadence. I just have more volume. Whereas right now, I have more power, but less cadence. Huh. Nearing the end here, last 10 minutes. What do we got? So I gotta ask the question, if I have to control the turning, the answer is no. It's all automatic on there. And then if you have a smart trainer, which I do, the wattage automatically syncs to it with the Bluetooth. I also have a dumb trainer over there. Don't use it. And the dumb trainer, I don't know how it would work. I think you would have to get the power pedals, put that on, get a thing here that tells you your wattage, and then you have to do everything manually. So right now it's like I have to be at 200 watts for 75 cadence. If I had the dumb trainer, I would have to monitor all that manually. I'd probably need to shift gears to make sure I'm hitting my wattage, I'm at the right cadence. But with the smart trainer, it's just all synced to that through Bluetooth manually, and I don't have to worry about it. So right now when it kicks up to 175, that syncs to my trainer. It says, hey, we're at 175. So now it's increased the resistance, and then it also automatically tracks my cadence, and then my heart rate monitor is on there as well, which is separate. But the smart trainer, it's a game changer. Highly recommend. I didn't even get to use the dumb trainer. I just saw this. My cousin sent me. He's like, this is on sale if you want to get it. It's like, say less. And I bought it. Because I just wanted to get on the bike as soon as possible because it's getting pretty cold out. Didn't want to bike out there. And I think I was injured at this time too. So I was like, I need to get on the bike as soon as possible. So I bought it right away. Came in. And it's honestly probably been my favorite purchase out of all my triathlon shit. It's definitely what I use the most, other than my bike, because I use my bike both outdoor and indoor. But I could use any bike to do this. I think the trainer is by far my favorite purchase. Although it did cost a good penny. You can watch my video on how much I've spent so far on Ironman training. And it's pretty much up to date. There's about 3, 4, 5 new things that I've bought since. A few of them have been Christmas gifts that I'll be getting from family members. But a few that I bought for them to give me for Christmas. But then I ended up finding other stuff, so I just ended up paying for it and buying them. It was just a couple small things though. Ooh, 290. I think this is the first time we've done 290. Yeah, 250. It did build up. What are the other ones? 230 and 135. That stays the same. 210. I don't see that hard segment after. Interesting. Ooh, that was a tough one. Okay, that made me work a little bit. And then we got, after this, we go into 210 for 20, and then 415 for 10, which is not long, but there's no break there, which is gonna be the tough part. But it's the very last thing, so we're obviously gonna finish strong. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And we're gonna be finishing strong. Let's try and keep high cadence for the rest of this. 80 plus. Reduce power, reduce power. This hasn't been too hard coming into that last little bit. We'll see how it goes. 20 seconds at 210, here we go. I don't think this part is gonna be hard. It's gonna be that last, look how slow we're going. 10% grade right now. Ah, man. All right, one more segment, finish strong. Let's get our cadence up. Let's stay above 90, see if we can do that. That'll be easy, that's 10 seconds. Oh crap, that was hard. Whoo. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, there we go, finish strong. Wow, that hit me. Like I was saying with the smart trainer, the intensity increases, and it just increased so much right there. I don't think I was expecting that. But I got up there, we made it, finished. I was tough to maintain it though. I got up there, and it started dropping. That was a little bit harder than I expected, just because that kind of hit me. But made it, finished strong. It's a tough one, but we'll prepare you for the specific demands of Zwift racing. Perfect. That's what we'll do next week. We'll spend a few minutes cooling down now to complete the workout. Honestly, that workout wasn't too bad. My legs just got a little heavy during a few of those long segments, but outside of that, it wasn't bad. Was it flashing? No, still got a good amount. Outside of that, it wasn't bad. That 415 kind of shocked me. I knew it was coming, but usually there's a delay in the resistance when it kicks in. And that time it didn't really seem like there was a delay in the resistance. It just kind of boom. And then the resistance was there, which made it a little bit tough. But we hit it, we got it all done. And I know I said this earlier, I'm probably gonna go for a run. It's become a habit for me to start running after I do this video. Just do a quick run. And this is my only run that I get in the week because of my current situation with my injury and just trying to let it heal as soon as possible. So I'm not trying to overdo it. And this is my way of easing into it so I can know if I'm good enough to run and I can start upgrading or upping my intensity, my distance. I just know last time I started increasing everything, my foot just started hurting more, so decided to take some time off. And I know I'm not the best at doing this, and I may sound a little hypocritical, but rest is important. I think it's more important when you're dealing with injuries though. If you don't have an injury and you're just being a little bitch, that's when you power through it. Those are the times that myself does not let any rest come into play. The only time I've really taken rest is with injuries. So injuries, I am safe, on the safer side. If you have injuries, make sure you're focusing on that and you aren't pushing yourself past those limitations, because in my opinion, a lot of the times you just need time to let it heal. That's what happened with my first injury after my half marathon. I tried pushing past it, pushing through it, and it just was not getting better. And all it needed was time to heal. And once it did heal, I was able to come back. I was able to come back stronger, and I came back better. And with this one, I've tried to push through it, and it's just not letting me. So if you give yourself that time to rest, it's gonna be better for you in the short and long term. Just let yourself heal when you got injuries. If you're being soft and a little bitch because you don't feel like doing something, that's when you push past it. That's when I don't believe in rest. So push yourself, even if you don't feel like doing it. But if you're injured, I'm okay with you taking some rest, because the best thing for that is rest and recovery. Maybe some, I don't know. I don't really do any of that physical therapy type of stuff, but I just let it rest, because that's typically what a lot of injuries do need, where it's just time to heal. But at 62 minutes, not a bad workout. I'll try and pick a harder one next time. Next week, we'll be doing a race. See how that goes. Hopefully we'll finish top 50%. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.